Very warm welcome to everyone who's joining us here today. My name is Astrid Soderlin, and I am the Director of e-commerce here at Visionet, and I'm going to be your host and moderator for today's event. So we have a really phenomenal panel here joining us that I'm going to be introducing to you shortly. But before that, just a couple of practical remarks. So this is an hour-long session, so if I can please ask everyone, except the presenters, to keep their cameras off, that would be wonderful. That helps us for connectivity and speed purposes. Also, this webinar is recorded, just for everyone to know, and we will be opening up for a Q&A session at the very end, so please keep your questions on hand for that. Also, last but not least, we will have a free workshop that we're offering to all of our participants here today. So please stay tuned for more details on that as we go along here during this hour. So with that said, I'm going to be starting off by introducing our panel here today. So first of all, we have Shir Ibgui, who is a team leader and partnership manager at Syte. A very warm welcome, Shir. Thanks for joining us here today.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks. And then we have Will Vinton, who is our head of digital consulting here at Visionet. Very warm welcome to you, Will. Thanks for taking the time to join us here today.
Absolutely. Happy to be here. Thanks, Astrid.
Thanks so much. And then, of course, our audience, thanks so much for joining us here today and taking the time out of your day to be here with us. I know it's a really busy month out of the year, December, last sprint here before the year end. But thank you all so much for being here with us. So we're going to start off by discussing how to redefine the human connection in e-commerce. And that might seem contradictory to many, as that is inherently a digital space, but that are some of the trends that we're seeing for retailers and brands and what they're doing nowadays. And we're going to be discussing some of the driving forces and factors behind this and what organizations are doing to stay ahead of the game. So I'm going to start off by directing a question to you, Shir, here. And from your perspective, what are some of the greatest challenges for companies and organizations out there that you see in improving their customer experience online?
So a lot of things that I think are happening, especially, since the pandemic, where a lot of people shifted to online shopping, more than at least before, is the fact that you're trying to really create that personalized human-to-human connection, but online, which is hard to imagine because you're not in the store and you're not facing the person and you're not, in real life. So how do you create that like human connection online? And a lot of the times, when we're talking to retailers, it's a lot of, we're trying to, build our tech stack to make sure that we have those solutions that are helping us create that connection as best as possible. Because at the end of the day, we don't want shoppers to hit a dead end, and it's a lot easier to hit a dead end online rather than in store. So when you're online and you're shopping, you want to be able to create a seamless user journey and experience for the shoppers, whether that's showing them recommendations that are personalized for them, showing them similar recommendations that they probably wouldn't have found otherwise, giving them different outlets to find other products. So we're seeing a lot of the times that retailers are looking to improve that user journey, create that personalized experience, but also how to not create dead ends, and making sure that shoppers are constantly seeing products that are relevant for them.
Absolutely. And why are experiences so important to customers from your experience?
I think in terms of like why it's so important, it's just, like 48% of shoppers still prefer to shop in store over buying online. And of those who prefer in-person shopping, most of them say it's because they just enjoy the experience. They want to interact with products before they purchase them. They want to, just have that experience of going shopping. And I think that when people are shopping online, they're kind of looking for that same experience just online. And so I think experience in general is something that, we're hearing a lot in the industry. And that's why, omni-channel has been such a popular term that we're hearing a lot right now. And it's because omni-channel shoppers have a 30% higher lifetime value than those who just, use one channel. So it's like, how can you create that experience both digitally, but also in store to create that stickiness that we're all looking for with shoppers?
Very good. Yeah, absolutely. Good point there. And Will, from your perspective, what was speaking about the omnichannel and digital strategy, why is it so important for brands to build that omnichannel digital strategy, and especially now in the post-COVID era?
Absolutely. It's a great question. And it is very important for brands to really prioritize that omni-channel strategy as we move forward in this digital journey that we're all on together. As Sheer said, we did see a huge shift in omni-channel strategy from digital or from your brick and mortar focused sales channels to more of an omni-channel strategy for many years now, decades even. People have been doing this, but we saw a huge acceleration during COVID. And a lot of people had an expectation that that wasn't ever going to change back, that it was going to become digital first everywhere. Um, but those people were wrong. This past year, we saw a lot of folks go back into stores. As Sheer just said, lots of people are still hitting stores, but their expectations have changed dramatically. Before COVID, there really wasn't a huge expectation to have a connected commerce experience. And connected is kind of omnichannel looks at one level further. You're taking that experience that you're getting both in store and online and connecting them. So your data is going to be the same. The content, what you're absorbing as a consumer is going to be the same regardless of where you're interacting with the brand. And they expect that now. They expect everything that they've done for the last 2 years, 3 years now online to be exactly the same now when they go back in store. They're expecting you as a salesperson to know that when they get into the store. So investing in this strategy is going to be huge. One really big reason why loyalty is decreasing. I think that is a huge trend that we're seeing. Over 75% of all consumers in the last 2 years tried new brands that they had never tried before. Why, though? Why is that happening? Well, there's a lot of reasons, some of which due to COVID, the availability of products, the supply chain disruption that we've seen has put a huge burden on a lot of companies to actually get products to consumers in a reasonable amount of time or at all. So that convenience factor is gone. We saw a lot of people running promotions and value-driven engagements during that time period because people were out of jobs. We saw a huge decline in the economy in the beginning of COVID, and that slowly crept back up till we saw huge wins. But like I said before, those expectations from the customers didn't really change. So those experiences that brands need to use in order to make their products and their message stand out is going to be huge in deflecting that decrease in loyalty. And one of the ways to do that is to provide a user experience, as Sheer was just talking about, that's going to set them apart from their customers. So deliver that connected experience, explore your new marketing initiatives, figure out what your brand stands for, and address your customer wherever they are and give them that omni-channel and connected commerce experience that they need.
Thanks, Will. Yes, very, very good points there. So what are some of the key omnichannel strategies that we are seeing out there, and especially the ones that unite the user experiences across multiple touch points?
That's a great question as well. I'll take it a step further and expand on some of those thoughts I had previously. I mean, there's a lot that we probably all already know about. People talk about buy online, pick up in store all the time. People talk about curbside pickup for your meals or your groceries. I mean, groceries is a really interesting industry by itself. They've seen a huge shift. I think it's something like 70% of all grocery shoppers at some point over the last year have bought something online that they would typically buy in store for same or next day delivery, through Whole Foods, through Instacart, through Amazon and Amazon Fresh. These are increasingly growing networks. So being able to deliver that buy online, same day, next day delivery for something that previously took place in store, even if consumers are starting to go back in store, is going to allow you to have that need for wherever your customer is, whether they do need that in-store or that at-home experience. Contactless checkout is another huge one, and that kind of goes hand in hand with all of these omni-channel strategies around curbside and delivery techniques, allowing people to check out either with no human interaction or with the least amount of human interaction at all. We see things like Apple Pay and Android Pay, huge in-store, just tapping on your checkout POS machines and chip readers to online, being able to leverage that same checkout technique no matter where you're going, and have all of your information pre-populated, from shipping addresses to your payment and credit card information, and much more. So having these contactless checkout options, huge experience win for customers these days. I already spoke about omni-channel kind of shifting more into connected commerce, which is that next level. But clienteling is probably the biggest when we talk about strategy around user experience, both online and in store. When people are shopping online, you're able to shove as much content and as much story in front of them as possible. When they're shopping in store, it's promotion here, promotion there. You're looking at your salespeople to maybe convey that story, but they're getting a much more in-person feel and high-level touch experience when they're in store. So how do we blend those together? We're seeing brands use really great strategies around their clienteling experience, where whatever's being done online, your brand and your store is able to replicate that experience with tablets and touch screens and things that will allow your employees and your sales agents to know all these details about your client's shopping experience before they ever even step in the store, which means you can provide a much better experience and link those two channels together in ways that you've never seen before. And then kind of the last one I want to talk about really quick, a huge omni-channel strategy that most people don't really consider it omni-channel strategy. They just consider it marketing, but social commerce is going to be huge. And your social strategy is really going to be imperative as we see omni-channel and connected commerce grow. Social commerce right now, $575 billion market globally. But China alone is doing $350 billion a year, if not more right now. And people like Accenture and Gartner are expecting that social commerce industry to grow to over 1.2 trillion in 2025 and 6 trillion by 2030. That's massive. And it would be silly for us as retailers and brands to not take a slice of that $6 trillion pie by the year 2030. So how do we integrate our channel with social channels? We need to reach our customers where they are. We see 4 billion people using social media every day for durations longer than they're spending at school or work. That's pretty incredible. That means they're on their phones while they're at school and work. They're on Facebook, they're on Instagram, they're on TikTok during their breaks. That's where we need to be reaching them if we really want to create this omni-channel connected commerce experience, and integrating your commerce functionality into those user journeys and meeting them where they are with a seamless experience, i.e., I'm live streaming to them. I'm providing them with ads that are relevant to what they need based on data we know while they're browsing their social media accounts, and then having a seamless experience for checkout that maybe doesn't even take them off of their app, but still integrates with your e-commerce platform, is a game changer for a lot of people in terms of e-commerce and reaching new clients that they've never seen before. So these are just a few of many, because connected commerce and omni is huge and expanding and ever growing. We'll be talking about metaverse omni-channel commerce and much more in the future. But yeah, those are a few really good places for omni-channel strategies to start over these next few years.
Thanks. Well, yeah, some massive opportunities there. And of course, there will always be some challenges and some obstacles along the way, but we're seeing also a demand for more frictionless buying experiences. And can you tell us a little bit from your perspective what that means for the future of e-commerce?
Yeah, absolutely. And I touched on a little bit of that already, so I don't want to be too duplicative or too repetitive. But people are expecting seamless and frictionless buying experiences now. That means when you're in store interacting with a sales agent, they don't want to hand over a credit card anymore. They don't want to go through a process of writing a check or anything like that. They just want to tap their watch, tap their phone, and be on with their day. And they want that same experience when they're online. It's very easy when I'm going through a drive-through or at the gas station to just tap my watch, my Apple Watch, and pay with Apple Pay. But the same experience is true online. When I'm at the end of checkout or at the beginning of checkout these days, and I decide that I want to do a quick checkout for a low-cost item, and it really it doesn't matter how quickly it gets here. I don't need any of that information. I want to go as fast as possible. I just click the PayPal or the Apple Pay option, and boom, I'm all my data is pre-populated. I don't have to think about anything. It has my default payment option selected, and everything's populated, and that means I'm basically a customer already of that site for any site that's leveraging these accelerated payment options. So pre-populating data, allowing for the frictionless experience during checkout is going to be huge, and getting people to discover their products and get to checkout faster is also a big piece of the buying experience and making a frictionless buying experience. That goes all the way back to the customer experience we were talking about at the beginning of this webinar that Sheer was talking about. So we're talking about creating and delighting our customers with experiences that are going to make their journeys very quick, easy, seamless, and deliver that to them to really form a lifelong customer and not just a quick, one-time purchase.
To add on to that, it's also like, technology has become so integrated into our lives that we increasingly experience moments where we're kind of like engaged both digitally and physically. So they've like coined the term phygital, which is like the connection between virtual and real life activities.
Love it.
And I think it really became an integral part of modern e-commerce, because we're always on our phones, or we're always, being inspired by something, or going into the store and looking for what I saw online in store, whatever that may be. It's super connected, and being everywhere doesn't guarantee a positive customer experience or produce meaningful business impact. But omni-channel experiences are becoming, it's super important to kind of make sure that you're able to touch in many different platforms and different mediums. But brands can successfully connect with customers not because they're everywhere, but because they show up in the right places in meaningful ways. And customers want to be seen and valued, and not always sold to. But with an omni-channel approach, shoppers can really discover, products everywhere. So like once an item catches the attention, it's the brand's job to ensure that their experience is frictionless from that moment of inspiration to purchase. And that solid omni-channel strategy puts the focus back on the customer and creates this like cohesive experience across the whole phygital experience. And then really reducing the friction to putting consumers at the forefront in terms of knowing, what makes them tick and what they're looking for. That's why I think, like you said, like social commerce, I think we saw it with Facebook, because Facebook really like brought that to light, where you can actually advertise there and sell things there. And now we're seeing it with Instagram, like literally every day, and almost all Instagram users are engaging in some respect or another with their favorite brands and being able to see their favorite brand store on the Instagram profile. And that whole experience really gives the feeling of wow for shoppers, because it's very easy. It's like from the moment you're inspired by something, you can check out and really go straight to that end goal.
Absolutely. Well
Thanks,
said.
Sure. Some good points there, and definitely being at the right place at the right time as well. So Sure, if I can turn to you, another element of cultivating the human connection in the digital world is also enhancing product search, and especially product discovery for anyone who's selling products. And that also includes delivering a hyper-personalized customer experience. So from your perspective, how do you approach product visuals in this aspect, and especially to boost the customer experience?
So I think, and it's a good question, because it's something that a lot of retailers, ask us. The majority of shoppers, over 80% of shoppers, say that product information and pictures are important to them when they're, making a decision online, where to spend their money. And that's why a lot of tools have come out, like 3D imagery or interactive user-generated content, galleries, virtual try-on tools, camera search. All these new innovative technologies have really helped early adopters increase their spend, their average order value, and just boosting the overall experience, but also spend. And we see that, for example, virtual try-on tools and 360-degree product views can help shoppers decide if, specific products are the right fit. There's also VIP style concierge services that provide that personal touch for premium customer experience. So we're really seeing that, a lot of these, tools are coming out that are really creating that human connection online, and reinventing engagement between brands and customers through optimized site search or product discovery experiences, it really enables, that whole journey for shoppers. And, Syte is a product discovery platform. And we use visual AI that is trained to really take any image and understand what that image is to create, use that data and create intuitive experiences and intuitive recommendations for shoppers. And personalization kind of ties into that, right? Because everyone's talking about how can I create that personalized experience for shoppers. But personalized product recommendations create that tailored customer experience that shoppers are looking for. And customers want to discover the best products that are tailor-made for them. But this kind of like experiential touch is a must for brands to really solidify that human connection. And it really echoes in store interactions with sales reps who take the time to listen and recommend products because they're standing in front of the shopper and they're really able to absorb, what they're looking for. And again, over 90% of consumers say that, they're more likely to shop with a brand that recognizes or remembers and provides relevant offers and recommendations for their taste. And so that's why we're seeing a lot of technologies out there really trying to create that personalized human connection online to, again, increase that stickiness, get the shoppers coming back. And, this can go on in so many different directions. Out of stock is an issue that we've been hearing a lot. And, during the pandemic, there was a huge supply chain issue. And honestly, it's really, continued on even until today for a lot of different industries. But that's really led to a lot of customer experience issues online because if the retailer doesn't have the item in stock, it creates that friction for shoppers. And so being able to show visually similar product recommendations for out of stock items or pieces that are not available really provides an interactive experience and makes that, makes the shopper feel like, okay, like I'm not hitting that dead end. There are other things that I can find, that I can search for. So it's really, again, using the different tools that you can find to enhance your tech stack to create the better customer experience at the end of the day for your shoppers, which at the end of the day will increase sales for the retailer.
You just had a really good point that I wanted to highlight. When you're in store, obviously the associate is going to know what's in stock and what the, maybe the delivery and lead time is for specific items if they have to be delivered or if they can cash and carry that day. When you're online, you don't really have that visibility. And I think customers are expecting that transparency today. And not only do they expect the transparency in the inventory and how quickly it can get to you, if it can't get to you and you don't have the inventory, the expectation is that that the website is going to do the same exact thing that an in-store agent would do, and that's recommend something that can get to you the next day or the same day in whatever the customer's time frame is. And with tools like Syte, where you're doing recommended products that are visually similar, basically, if I can't have this, I want that. It's going to be just as good, if not better, in some scenarios. That's what your platform does, and that's what brands need to be doing. Otherwise, their customers are going to see, oh, out of stock, can't get it here until next month or next year. At this point, it's not going to be here by Christmas, but what is? And we need to be able to do that as brands for our customers. So great point, Sheer.
Absolutely. Turning something that could be a negative experience into something positive and creating that opportunity for the customer is something very, very useful. And sure, if you did elaborate on the inventory, but are there other tools that you utilize to create that human connection in today's digital world?
I think I covered a lot of the ones that, are brought up or that we recommend or that we see retailers bringing up to us. I think at the end of the day, it's how can you use technology to optimize the processes that you're currently doing today. And at the end of the day, it really depends on where the gaps are for that specific brand or retailer. A lot of the times we have retailers that come to us, for example, like, merchandising teams that have tons of products coming in their catalog feeds, but in order to properly enrich the metadata of those feeds in their catalogs, they need to manually have a team sit there and describe, the attributes of each product. And that enhances the product descriptions, naturally boosts the SEO on the site, but also impacts the results in text search, which again is the customer experience. And something that we're able to offer is automating that entire process right? Taking the catalog and automatically tagging the entire catalog with those relevant attributes. And that's something that a lot of retailers are doing manually today. And so again, it's how can you use your resources wisely? I mean, we're seeing, a lot of movement happening in the industry, in all industries today, given the current economic landscape. And we're seeing a lot of retailers think to themselves, okay, how can we optimize all of our processes? How can we integrate the right technologies to be able to use our resources more wisely? So again, it's really choosing that right tech stack that can help you do that.
If I'm hearing you correctly, it's not just a benefit for the end user and the consumer. It's going to save the brand money too.
Yeah.
Leveraging the right tools and the right, tech stack. You called your deep image tagging. You talked about that earlier. I mean, that's going to save merchandisers hours and hours, if not days and weeks of time, getting through, and their time to market on getting products live is going to be quicker. So much benefit. So yeah, it's going to benefit your end user, but it's also going to really benefit the happiness and life of the internal employee who's responsible for a lot of that too. It's interesting.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks, Will. And you touched upon this a little bit already, but if Will, you want to elaborate, how can brands and retailers cultivate more of that human connection in e-commerce? And I think you touched upon it already, but if there is any other points that you want to address there.
Yeah, I mean, there's a couple, but we have talked about it a lot. And I think what is the human connection in e-commerce? It's really emulating that in-store experience online, right? Trying to bring the interaction with a human being or a sales associate, which is going to be seriously personalized and one-on-one. You're going to create rapport and create a relationship that it's just really hard to do online. So how do we do that online? And there are ways. But the number one thing is what's going to be the best at emulating a human interaction or experience, and that's AI. There's no technology out there that's better than AI and machine learning that is going to be able to replicate a human interaction. So leveraging AI at every interaction point with your customer online, whether it's in the acquisition phase, whether it's in your product discovery phase, whether it's in your narrowing down your products and ultimately choosing between products, whether it's in the checkout, whether it's in post sale and post service, so more your customer service. There is an opportunity to leverage AI at every touch point along the journey to increase that overall customer experience and that loyalty, which is going to make a human feel or a customer feel like they're interacting with a human the entire way. I'll give you an example of a couple of user journeys that I think are just fabulous. One of our clients, a large mattress retailer in the US, they are using guided selling as a huge opportunity to leverage AI and create that human connection in e-commerce to help with not discovery as much as product selection. But most people with mattresses, they want to go in store. They want to try it, lay on it. They want to talk about what are the pain points that they have with their current mattress, and they want someone to think about it. And they don't think that just browsing online and selecting through a big list of mattresses that are all rectangles and white is going to be very productive for them in helping them select their next product. And a lot of it is starting to get commoditized as well. And it's just marketing after marketing. You look at all the pack and roll beds and the bed in a box brands you see out there. So how does somebody make that choice? Well, this client, we help them leverage AI to create a guided selling experience that goes through almost the same exact process that they're training their 10,000 sales associates with replicating that experience, that sales experience online through this guided selling tool, which is going to allow us to get a lot of information about our customer that then we can plug into these AI models to get the best recommendations for our clients, which is going to cut down on your returns. It's going to cut down on your overall cost and it's going to cut down on, or it's going to increase your customer satisfaction and your NPS scores and so much more. And then after the sale is done, creating and leveraging conversational commerce to do things like interacting from a customer service experience, to do things like reorder or check on my delivery, things like that. People are using tools now that are on Facebook Messenger, on WeChat, on iMessage, on any real message platform you could imagine. There are tools now that integrate that have AI interactions that dig straight into your CRM and your other tools internally to know everything about that customer. And then they're interacting with like they're texting their friend and they're saying, I'm running low on this. I really need to reorder it. Or I have a big birthday coming up. What are some ideas for somebody who likes this product? And those AI tools are going to interact with those customers through conversation, just normal conversation. It's not asking specific or generic questions. It's just normal conversation. And again, this is another thing that's very huge in the East. China and India are really the leaders in this space right now, but it is going to be very huge globally soon. And we're seeing growth in the Western countries as well. And people are going to become more and more accepting of chatbots and AI-driven interactions everywhere. And they're going to use it wherever they are. So I hate to say it again, but social is going to be huge, making sure that we're interacting with them wherever they are and creating those interactions with AI leveraged the entire way. That's how we're going to really cultivate a human connection and human experience throughout the e-commerce journey.
Very good points there, Will. Thanks. So you already touched a little bit upon the importance of product discovery here, and also especially with the example there of the mattress retailer. How are customers then evaluating digital commerce platforms with AI-powered tools, and what trends are we seeing there specifically for product discovery tools?
Yeah, so I did touch on this a little bit, but how are we evaluating these digital commerce platforms and with AI powered and the trends we're seeing? I spoke about guided selling and guided customer journeys, leveraging AI to power that. Obviously, very huge. Personalization, which you'll see a lot of different personalization options here on the slide we have up. These are just a few of the many functions that Syte and other tools can do, from your recommendations to products you may also like, to doing cross sells and upsells, post checkout, depending on what the product person has bought, to visual search and helping customers really land on your site because they saw something in social media that they thought looked really great. They screenshotted a image from that and then used that to drive their search onto your website, landing them on products that they really wanted and they needed right away. We are also using AI to do things like understanding and really categorizing our customers to help drive our personalization. So we're helping understand the behavior, we're helping understand what is driving the customer behavior, and we're leveraging that data and analytics to make our experiences better over time so that our clients and our customers are really impressed and wowed by every touch point along the journey when they're interacting with your brand. And then the final place we're seeing a lot of different product discovery tools come into play is in the supply and demand. Predictive analytics, predictive forecasting and modeling for our brands is huge. I've seen brands, some of our clients leveraging predictive analytics tools, saving them millions, hundreds of millions of dollars in warehousing costs, in product that is expired or over, in saved sales because they're warehousing the right product in the right region at the right time, depending on hundreds and thousands of different factors. And no human can do this, right? Because there's just way too much data. But an AI can do it. They can take in thousands of different endpoints from weather and regionalized, buying purchases and patterns to anything really. And local elections and local politics and things like that. Like taking all this data and really help your brand understand, okay, what is the demand going to be for your product in this area at this time, and then you are ready. And then now all it is a let's market correctly. So 4 really great areas where we're seeing AI powered tools, and there's much more out there. AI is huge, and as I just mentioned, it's going to be the #1 way to really create experiences that are going to emulate that human connection in e-commerce.
And also to add on to what you said about predictive analytics, I think that it's super important. Also, I mean, if you look at it from an environmental impact point of view, businesses that are utilizing predictive analytics can minimize their environmental impact by testing, color offerings, or selecting the right colorways or the right patterns or the right cuts. And the data can really show them what's more likely to win, and that means less inventory waste and a significant decrease in the amount of chemicals used. So a lot of brands that are trying to really consider their environmental impact, which is a huge topic of conversation, especially in fashion, is utilizing the right technologies to do proper research and data aggregation when it comes to predictive analytics in your supply chain and your inventory in general. So it's a huge topic, and I like that you talked about it, which is also really interesting because we actually like talk about this with clients often. How can you use the data that we're able to provide to really make the right decisions internally? And we mentioned like the tagging aspect that we do before. Even when brands, receive the tags from us of their catalogs, they can actually then use those tags to analyze the success. So, for example, if V-neck is a tag that is, really popular and being sold a lot, they can say, oh, wow, like a lot of products that have the V-neck attribute are really successful. Let's create more of that, right? So they're actually able to use that data to then, say, okay, what should we create more of? So it's a conversation that we have a lot. But, the future of AI is a conversation that, people are talking about every day. I don't know if you guys have seen like the whole lens, like the AI like anime art trend that's going on. It's like
huge.
Have you seen it?
Yeah.
It's amazing. It's like this beautiful, like, anyways, if you guys haven't seen it, I would check out Lens AI, I think it's called, or Lens AI, and they have like AI avatars now, and you just upload like certain amount of photos and it just creates a variety of different versions of that image. So AI is just everywhere, and we're going to be seeing it come up a lot in every industry over the next few years. But it can go into so many different directions. I mean, like Will said, like conversational AI that increases personalization, or being able to use data and analytics to understand market trends and improving purchasing decisions, or automating repetitive tasks like tagging, or intelligent logistics to optimize prices and better predict future sales and forecast supply and demand, or improving augmented reality experiences, right? Virtual reality, AR, 3D imagery, metaverse, right? Like there are so many cool ways that we can, integrate these technologies to improve the customer experience, to improve the decision-making side on the retailer's end. And I think that's what we're all here to learn about. We're all here to hear about new technologies and what can be used and what's out there. And yeah, definitely second everything Will said.
Yeah, that was a really right at the beginning of what you were saying about how it can impact the green aspect of commerce and manufacturing is, I think, huge. We didn't speak about it too much, but I did mention loyalty. And one of the things that is helping a lot of brands retain their loyalty is the whole concept of really standing for something. And a lot of people, regardless of political affiliation and location, are really buying into the concept of environmentalism, and they want eco-friendly brands. And if you can leverage predictive analytics and AI to really optimize your supply chain and your manufacturing so that you are a green company and you eliminate, X% of waste because of that, it's a huge benefit, and something that you can speak about in your marketing, even if it's not something that necessarily makes the product any better. People still care. People care about that, and they want to know that they're supporting brands that support the things that they care about. So that was a great point that I didn't call out. So thanks for reminding me, because that's awesome.
Of course. I mean, especially if you're going to target the younger audience. I mean, Gen Z is like one of the most like socially aware generational group in terms of like environmental impact. So definitely a huge point.
Absolutely. Couldn't agree more.
Yeah. Tapping into the feel good factor when you purchase a product, right? That you're not only purchasing that product, but you're also making something good out of it, or giving back to society or people in need. Very good points there, both Cher and Will. So if we move on, I think we're going to talk a little bit about next steps. For everyone who's joining us here today, as I mentioned in the beginning here, I'm going to give the opportunity for Will to discuss this. But as I mentioned in the beginning, we will be offering a free workshop for every participant here today. And that's in partnership with Syte and together with here with Visionet. So Will, if you want to describe a little bit more of the details there in that workshop.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks, Astrid. And I'll let you chime in too, especially from your product discovery experience. But really, the intent of a strategy assessment and workshop from our sides is to get in, understand your business, help you evaluate where you are on your digital commerce journey as it relates to everything we talked about today. So we'll go in, we'll do assessments, we'll figure out where are you lacking in terms of functionality, feature set, in terms of even team structure and your overall process, from performance to experience and much more. We are going to talk about product discovery. As we mentioned today, it's extremely important, if not one of the most important aspects of e-commerce right now. We'll talk about merchandising and technical capabilities and solutioning, and we will help you really optimize that roadmap for success for 1, 3, 5 years, and we'll do it all free. So it'll be about a day, 4 or so hours. Workshop will be flexible with all of our clients and figure out what's best for them. But we want to get some time to help you identify ideas and opportunities for you moving forward, and for free of charge. Sheard, I don't know if you want to add anything from a product discovery perspective or if I covered it.
No, I think you covered it in terms of product discovery. Just to briefly say, in terms of our end, when we look at the sites and we do that site audit in terms of product discovery strategy, looking at the different ways that shoppers can search for products, different ways that they're inspired for different products, and really looking at those different avenues that shoppers have when they go through your site experience. And that's kind of like what we offer. We're excited to, hear from anyone that's interested. And yeah, I think we'll covered it all.
Awesome.
Thanks, Sheer. And just to reiterate here, I put it also in the chat for anyone that does want to move forward with the workshop here to please contact us either on sales@visionet.com or sheer.i@syte.ai. So both these two emails are listed here in the chat, so please save those and you can reach out to us at any time and we'll be happy to schedule that workshop with you.